My name is Erin Walter. I'm from Southern California. I came to Glasgow for university. I first got involved with the Glasgow City Heritage Trust during my museum studies program. I first came across the Necropolis, I guess, when I came to visit the city. I really loved the winding hills and the garden aspects of it.
I'm Rachel Pearce. I'm Glasgow City Heritage Trust's Statues and Monuments Officer. We're going for a wander around the Necropolis and we're going to delve into its female history.
It's, I think, known as one of the best, the Victorian Valhalla, one of the best garden cemeteries there are. So while there are other larger ones, this is certainly, I would say, the best in Britain.
The Necropolis is very much of its time. There's a definite cult of death in Victorian Britain. There was a lot of money and attention spent on things like mourning clothes, and there was a lot of ritual and ceremony. I think the wealth that was produced by the industries in Glasgow can obviously be seen here around us.
There's few women that are really stand out in the Necropolis. So many are just a Mrs. or wife of. So I thought picking out a few ones that ranged would be a fun project.
Erin's done a wonderful exhibition for Glasgow City Heritage Trust. Women are wildly underrepresented here. They made up 50% of the population, and yet most of the graves refer to women as wives, mothers.
She kind of had the job to marry and to have a family, and that was it. So there's a few females who I focused on who were philanthropists or who didn't marry and kind of stood out on their own within the city. So this is the mausoleum of Margaret, Jane, and Elizabeth Buchanan, three women who were very important to Glasgow and were extremely wealthy and donated all their money upon dying to the poor. We're all single, never married, lived in a large estate together, Belfield Estate.
So they had complete control of the estate?
They did, yeah, three women at the time, which is very rare.
Because I suppose not marrying is a way of retaining your independence.
It was, yes. It was one of the few ways which really most women of the time couldn't do.
Is this why you included it in the exhibition?
Well, I included it mainly because it's the only mausoleum that's only women. And I also included it because of the philanthropy, and they're just so important to industrial Victorian Glasgow.
I feel like women were making huge strides in the Victorian era. The women's rights movement, the suffragettes and the suffragists campaigning for the vote and being quite radical about it. And Queen Margaret University opened by another famous Glaswegian woman, Isabella Elder.
After her husband's death, Isabella Elder became a champion for women's education, including the inception of Queen Margaret's in Glasgow, which focused on women's university education, especially in medical degrees, which was unheard of before in Victorian Glasgow and Britain. She was actually pronounced dead by the first female graduate of that medical school. She was a great feminist for the city, and today is commemorated at the summit of the Necropolis, where the most wealthy and prominent Glaswegians are buried. This is the Wilson Mausoleum.
Okay.
Belonging to Charles Wilson. Two of his wives are buried here.
It's interesting that his second wife designed this.
It is, yes. One of the few graves designed by a female in the Necropolis, I'd say. I think the Necropolis is one of the best Victorian, really, garden cemeteries there is. And I think it's absolutely sublime and really sticks Glasgow out as a great industrial place. It's kind of this Victorian sentiment that's now gone.
I would like people to come along and see the exhibition. You can come and see it until March at 54 Bell Street, learn something new and appreciate and value the women of Glasgow that built and made this city great.